Worldwide protest over police killings and violence here in Toronto as well, where calls to defund the police continue following the deaths of several people of color, some of whom were in crisis after interactions with officers. And just days after taking a knee with a group of protesters, Toronto Police Chief Mark Saunders announced he would be leaving his post 8 months before his contract was set to expire. This is his last week on the job. Tonight we speak with him about what changes need to be made.
Do you think that the current model of responding to these emergencies is the best model?
No, I don't think it's the best model, and you know, these have been discussions that I've been having, I would say, from the moment I got into my seat. Any time that there is an encounter where there's loss of life, it's very bothersome for us. And you know, inquests are held. We review our training and look at what do we need to do to make alterations. How can we increase on moving towards success? Most of the times when we get called, it's because someone from the community is calling, because what they're seeing, they're either frightened or uncomfortable with, and so they've made that call. And my framework is, why does it have to be there? Why do we, again, deal with the symptoms at the end of the day? Where are the services that are provided before that, so that that young man or young woman is not in that state of crisis that involves policing intervention? There has to be a better system, a collective system that deals with all of these aspects, and law enforcement should not be the lead.
What's been your reaction, and has it changed over the last couple of weeks when it comes to calls to defund the police? Can you, do you think that, you know, police in general needs a radical reimagining?
Well, it has to be measured, and it has to work. And I felt that when we created the Transformational Task Force, we did just that. That was a balanced way and a balanced approach. It was measured. A lot of the words in the report are from the community. And if people took the time to read the report, all of these discussions are already in there. And we spoke to, A, changing our delivery model. What resource do we need to do to take care of some things? What things do we stop doing? The police simply should not be doing.
Reallocate the funding.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, if they take away a lot of our calls, 40% of our calls are non-emergency. 40% are non-emergency. That's where the red meat is. But it has to be built first. It has to be functional first. It has to be measured.
There was a recent human rights ruling that found that sexual harassment was common in the Toronto police. You know, how have you been able to respond to that? And you know, when will we be able to see some of these changes?
Number one, we've hired an external agency to have a look at how things exist right now, and to break it down, look at our processes, and then give us more tools to assist us in getting better. And number two, we've got our human resources command, in which we're hiring an expert in this very discussion to look at other alternatives and other methodology that we can utilize to get it better. Because the big problem is, does it exist? Yes, it does exist. But everybody understands what they can and can't do.
Ahead on City News, what was going through the mind of the police chief when he took a knee with protesters? We speak with him about Black Lives Matter and the advice he has for Toronto's next police chief. Black Lives Matter, the group on the front lines of protesting police brutality and anti-Black and anti-Indigenous racism, demanding systemic changes, including defunding the police service. And many of those protests took place right here in front of Toronto Police Headquarters. The latest just last month, as Toronto Police Chief Mark Saunders announced he would be leaving his post.
What do you think about Black Lives Matter?
Activism is an important role in society. And when we talk activism, it's about people that aren't satisfied with incremental change. And without activism, I would not be in this seat. As a whole, what they represent is there's fear, there's anger, and concern with today, in which interactions are taking place with the judicial system as a whole. And this is an opportunity for the governments to have those hard conversations to see what needs to be done to improve on that. But my only ask is that there's no breaking of the law.
Take a knee. Take a knee.
Put your hands up, take a knee, baby. Put your hands up, take a knee, baby.
You took a knee with protesters recently. How do you want that to be interpreted?
That's the truth. That group that was there, and I've said this before, we're talking about late teens, early 20s, and it was very clear these are people that want to come to the table, and these are people that are saying, I want to control what my future should look like, what this world should look like. That's why we're here today, and right now we're very concerned. We don't like the direction that it's going in, and things have to change. And so that's the kind of energy that we need. That's the kind of energy that we need. We need that lens. It was very important that day, and I asked them if I could take a knee, and it was a yes or no. If they had said no, I would have respected that and just said, look, keep the city clean. That's all I asked. Please just obey the law, and we'll be fine. But they were good with it.
You once defended carting. How do you see it now? If
you go back in the archives, I very clearly said, I do not stand for or support random stopping of people. If it's measured, if it's intelligence-led, it will enhance community safety. And so, the misnomer there that people keep saying, I do not support carting by this definition. If it's intelligence-led, if the officer knows who they're talking to and why they're talking to them, then it's a good day for all of us.
Our interview with the police chief have been posted on our website, citynews.ca. Now, this discussion lasted a little over 30 minutes here at Toronto Police Headquarters. And the last question I asked Chief Mark Saunders, what advice he has for Toronto's next police chief.
Listen a lot. You have to listen a lot. We have to serve the entire community. Right across. 3 million people, 5 million that come work here, live here, play here, Monday to Fridays. And if we're going to get it right, it has to be equal across the board. And we've got some communities that are still a little bit afraid or nervous for whatever reasons to come in and talk to us. We have to work on that. We have to work on that. And I like the plan that we've put in play. I think that it will withstand the test of time, but it has to get utilized properly.